All right. Happy Friday, everybody. Adrian Park with me again, our CEO, Jay Carter.
Hello, hello.
And so, and we're going to have an interesting conversation today. So I'm going to, if it's all right, Jay, I'm going to share my screen real quick. Um, can you see it?
Not yet. Yep, I can see it. Yeah.
All right. So I, let's I shouldn't even have put this on there, recency bias. So we have a you know, I mean, if you think about all this stuff that comes in through our eyes and ears, so we bring a lot of information in, right? So it's like our brain's primary function is to delete as much of the extra crap that information's coming in, sensory information, so that we can just focus on the stuff that we need to do to, function, right? To brush our teeth and take a shower and do our jobs, call our customers, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So the that obviously is how we all function. But the problem on the other side, there's always another side, right? The other side of that coin is this thing that I'm showing on the screen here, what they call recency bias, which is just a fancy way of describing what I just said, right? Where we just delete, 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 delete. And so what happens is that, we're kind of in this, like, we're looking at like right ahead of us and right behind us to get like an idea of what we should do in terms of making decisions, evaluating what's going on, in the world and our businesses. And where that kind of hurts us as business owners and business people is that, we don't think about things contextually. Like, we don't go back far enough in time or go forward enough, right? So so I and so by the way, a little plug for AI. This, what we have on the screen here, like these details, I pulled all of this from AI and did a quick fact check, so I believe they're correct. But it took me like 8 minutes with using the AI. So essentially, so this recency bias thing that happens in our brains means that we don't get enough information oftentimes when we're trying to make bigger decisions or even effective decisions. So what does this mean for what we're talking about today? So for example, like, to go to like break the recency bias, to break that up a little bit and go back like to the like golden age of advertising or golden age of TV for advertising was the like early 1970s, or I just picked 1970. So in 1970, you could spend $100 on an ad, regardless of who you were, right? And on one of the big networks, and that $100 would get you $200 back, right? So it was a 2-for-1 investment, which isn't too shabby, right? I mean, considering, right? However, a 30-second spot in 1970, now this is adjusted for inflation, so this is in today's dollars, would have cost you $163,000, $163,500. All right. So also using AI, I pulled up like how much time we all spend by age group on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, right? And so in the same way that in the 70s, we were, families were in front of their televisions, we now as individuals are on our phones or iPads, and we're the networks are now these big four social platforms, right? And here's where the recency bias kind of screws us up. We look at the social platforms and we're like, everybody's on them. How people aren't going to, I'm going to post this stuff. It's going to go out there. Nobody's going to see it. So why would I bother? And then we have, we end up having like, this was me. I was guilty of this. I had 50,000 before and afters and all these project photos of these beautiful historic restorations just tucked away neatly in my Photos app on my phone, right? Not on a website, not on social media, no videos on YouTube. And, it's kind of like, hey, knucklehead, like maybe you should use this and help people, help, show people what you guys have done. So I think, interesting. So, we talk a lot about the generations, Jay, and I mean, 45-year-olds, like, so I'm 47, 45 to 54, they're spending 30 minutes a day on TikTok.
Yep.
This is statistics, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then 55-year-old to 65, they're spending 28 minutes a day on TikTok. So,
Absolutely.
so, it's, I think, so the punchline here is like, what if we take and expand like our reference points as far as like the decision making around should we be on social media? And you and I talked about this a few times, but I just think
Mm-hmm.
it bears repeating because people still aren't doing it, or contractors still aren't doing it. So like, it would have cost 163,000, 50 or so years ago for 30 seconds. Today, for, I mean, well, you'll be able to speak this in a minute. So I'll flip this to you and you can like talk more to this, but for far less money, like
Mm-hmm.
fractions of a
Fractional.
fractions of a fraction, in today's dollars, you can spend fractions of that and reach more people. And then if you get crazy and do ads, you can do far better than 2 for 1.
Right. Right.
Right.
Right.
Now I'm going to
So
stop my share. So how do, so then, so a little bit of context. So now what should we, so someone's watching us, they're like, okay, that's great. Okay. So I get off to spend $163,000 for 30 seconds, but okay. So what do I actually do?
So first things first, pick your spot. Okay. So the thing about social media where guys are misunderstanding a lot is that by posting regularly to an organic page, Facebook page, telling your story, putting a little bit of consideration into the storylines, like don't just be like showing off about all your jobs. People don't really care, right? That doesn't get a lot of views or likes or anything like that. But what you got to remember that at very least, these are digital business cards, right? And
It's a
you're
good
allowed to
ways.
put your
Yeah.
free business card in the biggest store in the world. So, I mean, you have literally, hundreds of thousands. So,
Good.
I like that you started with the reference of, the 1970s, because I'm going to tell everyone just exactly how it is. It wasn't the golden age. We are in the golden age of marketing, all right? In that there is never, ever in history been a bigger opportunity to get in front of the right audience and speaking specifically to the type of customer you do business with. And I'm a big, a big fan of knowing your direct market, directly marketing to them. And with social media, I think it's one of the most misunderstood, misused tools that we have, or levers that we can pull. And here's where the first mistake starts, is that guys get into it and they don't have the right mindset. They're going to look at it
Right.
as an expense to their business, all right?
Right.
Versus I'm getting a 3-to-1, 4-to-1 return, ROI or ROAS. And I look at all my marketing as I need to, if there's anywhere I'm going to invest in the business, is going to be in the marketing. All right. Because I know, hands down, that's where I'm actually making the money. It's not
Right.
in doing the work. It's not in like none of that. I make money in marketing and getting in front of enough customers. Okay. And with that, I use multiple platforms because I take advantage of what each one is capable of doing for me. So number one, Facebook community. Okay. If you're a
Yeah.
contractor, you need to be in a Facebook, have a Facebook page, get your business card up, even if, again, done is better than perfect. Okay. So
Yes.
being there, because what happens is your clients are going to check you out there now. Like they're going to Google and they're going to look at your Facebook. Plus, if you're doing SEO, all that kind of stuff, more and more they are taking those links and that link juice, and that's what's getting you organically found. Okay. Now,
Right.
here's the other thing, and here's what most guys don't understand. If you don't produce content organically, your ad cost is going to be exponentially higher. And it only makes logical sense. Facebook's job is to sell ads. Okay.
Right.
Now, if your ad doesn't keep people engaged and people aren't staying on the platform longer, like 45 minutes, because of
Yeah.
your content, all right, well, Facebook looks at your ad as, basically you're going to get a different a different price, right? So this is where we see a lot of misunderstandings. So again, in when it comes to the conversion, I want to share this with you guys so that a high level you kind of understand. All right, even if you're hiring a marketing company, even if you're outsourcing this stuff, as a contractor, you need to know how the two are intimately connected and what platforms to use depending on your level of awareness of what platforms to use to really get you to your objective. Okay, so let me give you an example. If your objective is to generate high quality leads, okay, and I want to have, I don't want to spend I don't want to spend, $50,000-$60,000 a month because I can't manage that many leads. Okay.
Right.
And I'm currently running Google ads. I'm running anything that's paid. Okay. It would be an absolute crime if you didn't invest as well in your organic content creation. All right. So again, this is 2 to 3 posts a week. You would have them in a certain order. So maybe it's, employee highlights. It might be, a story about the community. Think about it. Like everybody that is going to do business with you could potentially be seeing this. All right. And again, people are more and more digitally bound these days than we don't even print business cards anymore. I don't think. And again, we know, and I know because I look at the traffic and I can see through my data, like where people are coming from. All right. And more and more and more, year by year by year, they are coming from social media. And it's because, again, people are already there. Right. So here's the dilemma though. All right. Not all platforms have the same intent. Okay. So when we're talking about platforms like TikTok, all right, for contractors, very, very good if you're trying to do recruitment campaigns, awareness campaigns, everything that would exist, what we call, and I'm going to just show you, top of the funnel. Okay. So if you're
Yeah.
just starting out and you're brand new to the contracting, world, and you don't really have, a lot of, you haven't really got any business, one of the best places to actually go and take a crack at social media, I would say, for 2 reasons. Number one is that people spend generally more time on TikTok, and TikTok gives you a fair chance of getting to the top of the algorithms because they don't penalize you for how many followers. So what I mean by this is if you have a very good it's a content-based, content-driven platform. That's its sole purpose, right? So if you produce something that is even mediocre, all right, what you're going to find is you're going to start to drive traffic. Okay. Now, driving traffic and converting leads are 2 different things. Okay. Driving a lot of awareness of your brand, this is like what we would call brand marketing. I'm not a huge fan of it. This would be like putting your name on the boards at an arena. Okay.
Right.
But in terms of effectiveness, like you're getting more reach, you're getting more engagement, you're getting more views on your business. Okay. This is going to lead to, again, some brand awareness. But I would highly recommend looking at the connection between the two. So let's imagine that this is all top of funnel. We're trying to create awareness of our company in our local area. You can do that, right? And if you're going to run ads, even better, because then you can be more targeted. Okay. Now, where this shifts is when we get into the lower stages of the funnel, or what we call a sales funnel. Okay. As people are beyond awareness of, hey, I've got this problem, right? I need a new roof or need XYZ. Okay. They're coming more and more to places like Facebook that has a community. Okay.
Right.
Where they can ask the community. All
Right.
right. And again, you guys see it all the time. If you're in those Facebook groups and stuff, and if you're adding value, this is where they're going and they're making considerations of what they need to get solved. They're asking other people, they're engaging. That's what the platform was designed and built for. That's what it does. Okay.
Mhm.
So a very, very good place if you're just starting out to be active in community groups, that's a free way to get your name out there, and you are going to generate interest and awareness, and it's going to create conversions. Okay. Very, very important. And then as well with your own Facebook page, adding organic followers, stuff like that is going to help when you do start to run ads. So if you want to run targeted ads, when you know who, and this is a very important thing, do not, I'm telling you, don't let an advertiser or anybody go and spray and pray for you. All right. That means that they're going to go very, very broad with the campaigns. Now, this is contrary to what some marketers would, marketers would probably scoff at me, but I know because I buy my own ads. I buy my own media. I know this for sure is that in Facebook, you have to look at the segment of people you're going to do business with very specifically, because not knowing that avatar, not knowing exactly who you do best business with will attract you a whole bunch of customers that are going to take your time. There is lots of price shoppers on Facebook. And I'll
That's a
give you a
good
good
point.
example.
Yeah.
If my ads show up in Marketplace, okay, I can literally take the quality score down by half. All right, because people are there with the intent of buying something at a bargain price. That's the
Right.
typical
Right.
experience, and they're looking at options, right?
Right.
I don't want to be shown in those searches. Now, for some guys, it works fine. For a high end, high net worth niche business, I know my customers aren't generally there anyways. The second problem is I don't want to attract a bunch of price shoppers that are
Right.
comparing my offer to a dozen or more other offers. Okay. Where I do want to show up though, where I do want to show up is when they've done their search on Google, which still 93% of all serious buyers start their search within Google, right? Searching for a contractor. Now that might change in a little while coming, but what happens there is now we can use a thing called a pixel where we can follow them around. So let's say they searched for a service, they are actively interested. Okay. That then allows us as marketers to target them in their social media. So if they clicked on my website anywhere, I can show up, and you know how your phone listens to you, right? But it's called retargeting, and I'm retargeting the right people. Okay.
Right.
I'm retargeting people that were already, brand aware, aware of, what our company does. And again, I'm trying to keep a uh, buyer coming through and an audience. All right. Now, where the other part of this comes into play, all right, is where our company is very strong is that we build the middle of the funnel. Okay. This middle part is where all contractors fail at marketing, and all marketers that are marketing for contractors fail, because we got to look at up here, all right, in stage one, all right, people that are, or sorry, in stage four, this is actually reversed. So in stage four, where people are actively looking to buy, they're problem aware and
Right.
they're solution aware. Okay.
Right.
Every contractor, 90% of them are fighting for those customers, and they are only 3% of the entire funnel.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
And the reason for that is very simple, is that again, they're problem aware, they're solution aware, they're going to go to Google, they're going to get that
Right.
project done. Where if you're a builder, if you have a longer, cycle, or if you're a higher ticket trade contractor, again, big purchases, where you need to be focused is in these top stages, because people are only becoming, you may make them problem aware. Okay. So again, a good example of this, we offer a free roof evaluation if they think that they're going to have to replace the roof. And people are like, well, why do you do that? And I'm like, well, let me explain it to you. If I can get somebody that's in the stage unaware of their problem, okay,
Mm.
and unaware of the solution to their problem, all right, that's a good place to start to brand. That's a good place to start to plant a seed. Now, all I have to do to move them from stage one to stage two is bring up the problem. Right. So good marketing. So I'm going to use messaging like, hey, not getting your roof replaced could void your insurance. Right. Like we can use all
Mm.
types of hooks that now all
Right.
of a sudden snap them. If they're my kind of avatar, value orientated, they're generally C compliant. They're a certain personality type. They're professionals. They don't want to hear that. Like, what do you mean my roof insurance could be void? Oh,
Right.
that's scary. All right. Or
Right.
was your house hit by storm damage recently? That's scary.
Right.
I'm interested in knowing the answer to that. Now, what I'm gonna do is I like to do is I create, first of all, the awareness. All right, what's the problem? What's the issue? What's the big bad scary wolf? And there's other ways to do it, of course. And then what do they need to do? And how do I get them to take a low level of commitment to me, right? Which I would call a tripwire offer, something that's very low barrier entry. Maybe they give you your contacts. They can set up, and again, I don't try to go rate for the quote for very logical reasons, is that people aren't yet educated enough or warmed up enough to be making serious commitments. So I know that the expense of that is very high. So what I want to do is create an offer that makes sense. So I've just made them aware that, hey, here's a massive storm in your area. Okay. Your roof may have been affected by storm damage, blah, blah, blah. And, my next thing is my direct response is going to be, we offer this evaluation for it. All right. We're going to give you an offer of $150. We're going to come to your house. We're going to inspect your roof completely up and down. Okay. Now that's a very low commitment for the exchange of value. Okay. Or in other cases, they may be interested in metal roofs. So I'm going to promote a metal roof. All right. My direct call to action is going to be what we would call a lead magnet, would be a information package, because I know that they're looking for information. And as human beings, we all do the same thing. When we are unaware of the solution to our problem, we collect information. Okay. It's important that you invest enough. And this is where your social media comes into place, because you can plant at least once a week something that when somebody comes with the intent of collecting information that's valuable to them and making their decision, they can find it there. So job pictures, don't do that. All right. Showing completed jobs, don't do that. Now, telling a story how you help the customer go from point A to point B. All right. Similar to the people that may be coming there for, comfort and knowing how to get from, problem to solution, is a really wise idea. All right. Showing social proof of your services. Again, what's the first thing that, most people, when they think of a contractor, they get really, anxious and worked up is, oh, I don't want to, at least my clients do, is I don't want to deal with the wrong contractor. That's scary. All right. And again, this is an opportunity for you to plant those middle funnel considerations along the way, so that you're bringing somebody through a journey. All right. And if you're really smart about this, we're going to plant a little seed that is what we call an irresistible offer. So low barrier entry, we're talking 97, 47, like something that's just barely going to break you even, that gets you in front of that client at that stage in the decision making. Okay. The earlier you can get there and the more credibility and authority you can establish, all right, the more likelihood you are to converting that client to a paying customer. Okay. Another fine example of this is we sell very high-end expensive metal roofs, as most of you guys know. The psychology of selling a $100,000 project is not the same as buying a $15,000. And you're also dealing with a different class of people. All right. And they spend a long time in this stage. Now, here's again why it's worth the investment. If you're a builder, if you've got, again, big purchases, stuff like this, and you don't have your social media geared up, you're not producing content to help in this awareness consideration stage. All right. Do not plan on being at the preference stage. Okay. Because this is where everybody starts to show up. When everyone wants to buy, all of a sudden, okay, we have, people buying ads. We've got everyone fighting for the top of the page saying, hey, pick me, I'm the best. Right. And it's very salesy. Okay. People aren't, again, we're making our decisions a different way now. And we're using a lot of, again, these social platforms to help understand what it is we're purchasing, understand how to solve the problem, including Google and including other things. But think about this client journey. Okay. And I'll make it simple as I can. They go to Google and they search, how much is it for a metal roof? Okay. 25, different people pop up. All right. And all of them are trying to pitch them a new roof. Oh, I'll come and give you an estimate. I'll come give you an estimate. Right. They're going through like, listen, I don't want to meet with anybody yet. I don't even know if I can afford it. And then along comes your blog that's not salesy and says, hey, on average, the cost of a new metal roof in your area is like $4, right? Well, that's and that's a lead magnet. Now, the next one is hey, you know what? We do free, no obligation satellite quotes, right? You don't even need, no salesperson, and it's instant. We're going to give you a ballpark figure. Great. Now they get that price instantly and they're like, hey, this isn't so bad. Maybe I want to just talk to somebody that has some more information. So what did I just take them from? Right? All in the midst, and they can do that very quickly. Speed and convenience, right? They're going to move through those stages. And then while I get them to the consideration or preference, this is where we're going to add urgency. We're going to add, again, we're going to amplify our authority. in that, again, if we're positioning properly and actually looking at the bigger part of the funnel, like 66% of your buyers are in these
They're at the
stages,
top. Yeah.
right?
Right.
Instead of the 3% that everything's
Right.
geared for, because we're not
Right.
thinking about how people actually make buying decisions. Okay. So again, if you're having your and where reviews and all that stuff fall in, and social proof is stage 3, before they make that purchase, they go through those, on average, and we can track it across the board. So platforms like YouTube, all right, if you are really wise and you want to be SEO and keep feeding your algorithms, you're going to put content in there that helps a homeowner make a really good buying decision. You're going to
Right.
put content in there that is reviews of clients talking about your service. Okay. And we're going to also design ads. When we've built those content pillars, we're going to design ads that, again, are going to capture people at top of the funnel in the awareness stage, right? And then it's going to, again, there's these tripwires all the way down where they've got low barrier entries, or lead magnets. We're going to give them free information so that they are using your information to make a good decision. And where it generally ends up is they give you a call. All right.
Right.
Now, if you've done a very good job of this and you haven't gone from, hey, nice to meet you, let's get married, right? And you're going to run out.
Right.
Because again, just think of the psychology. Like,
Right.
I called this roofer. He showed up the next day, gave me a quote for 100 grand. Well, who the fuck is this guy? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Right.
like now that everybody looks the same because we're all doing the same thing. We're rushing around. No
Right.
one's taken the time to build up the engagement, the awareness. Like no one's planting the seeds where these social platforms make it very easy to do it nowadays. But contractors do the same thing over and over again. Beautiful pictures of their jobs. Hey, we're the best, blah, blah, blah. Like, like trying to sell somebody something through, puffing up their chest and saying, look
Right.
at me. Where you've got to give information. You've got to give, again, pain points. You got to make sure that your customer believes that you can solve their problem. All right.
Right.
And I'll tell you why this is. All right. It's very simple. People buy for emotional reasons, okay? And they justify with logical reasons. If we look at most marketing that's out there in the modern day, all right, and what most contractors are doing on their own platforms is they are focusing on the logic of why someone should pick them, which keeps
Right.
people in the decision-making awareness stage going, I need more
Right.
information.
Right.
They're not thinking about, well, don't use words like, you know, we're the best because we're, certified with XYZ that no one's ever heard of, and big, terms and stuff, because that does
Right.
zero. In fact, it
Right.
pushes your client away. All right. And I see it happen all the time where we're pushing credentials before we've even created awareness of, okay, great. How do you solve my problem? Because no one cares about anything to do with your company at all. All right. They only care about how you can solve their problem. It's a yes or no, right? How
Right.
you make them feel, though, is how you convert them into paying customers. So again, big difference. We're not, and again, I'm not saying that we don't educate them and use logic to persuade, but you don't do it in a point where you're trying to convert your client, and
Right.
understanding where these platforms play the role. Again, if I was going to really push logic and in the awareness stage where someone's researching and looking up things, right, where I can play in that lane, where they're collecting information, YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, like Instagram's very good for these two stages.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, as I move down through them, again, I've had most success with, and some people are Instagram, some people are Facebook. They're about the same for me, in
Mm-hmm.
terms of planting content there, assuming people are going to come through at different stages. Okay.
Right.
And then I want them to go to my website, I want to have good, clean call to actions, knowing that their journey has tracked through that,
Right.
through that experience. Does that make sense? Right.
It does. I think so. Just if I can maybe go back and for
Sure.
the benefit of our viewers. So for top of the funnel, so the stage one is that's like TikTok,
Blogs,
um, blogs. So
YouTube,
that's like YouTube. And then as
mhm,
you move so stage 2 and 3. So as you're moving through and
Facebook,
people are that's
Instagram.
Facebook. So that's like, so it's like, it's like I maybe I don't know, or I'm not sure, or, like
Right.
that's all stage one. Then as you're like, oh, maybe this is something I need to do. So then stage 4 and 5 for
Mhm.
contractors. So what does that look like?
Perfect. So again, if we think about using a lead magnet, I will use lead magnet. So you're going to exchange value
And
for,
can you
yeah,
maybe like
absolutely.
yeah, so
So
let's
so a lead magnet
make it
is
real
is
easy.
is is easy to explain. It's a high level bribe for contact information. So you're going to bribe whoever is interested in the awareness or consideration stage to
Right,
take your bribe. Hey, give me your
right.
contact information. I want, your, and we all fall for them.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's a human thing. I'm going to give you this checklist, or I'm going to give you this manual. But the difference here, all right, is that you're guiding somebody's journey. Instead of focusing just here and skipping all these 3 steps, we've now given them some value that's going to build credibility for us. And again,
Right,
people will use that when they get to the logic stage of their emotional reactive decision, right?
right,
Is that they're going to be like, well, this guy must really know what he's doing. Look at all this information he's giving me. He knows my journey. And
right,
remember, I'm staying on the feel side, right? How's that make you feel? I'm focusing on the customer's problem. Okay. So as we move down here, preference, and again, we're using the word preferences. That's your branding. That's your image, out there. That's your copy. That's the words you say, the images you project. People will look at those things, all right, and make, generally unconscious decisions on who they trust more. Okay.
right.
Now, knowing those mechanisms, and again, it ties back to your avatar. Most guys just never ever grasp this part. If you think, all right, that you want to do business with everyone, you will find out, right? You can't scale a business focusing on the whole, unless you're selling a product, all right?
Yeah,
And even then, you lose so much momentum by not knowing who specifically will benefit from your product and the value. And again, this is why guys can't get the right prices, why guys can't keep the right leads. If you're, again, you think you've, and most guys are artisans, like we know, all right,
right.
they're good, strong trade workers, they believe in their product, they probably are producing the Lamborghini, all right, but they're marketing it and putting it in front of people that can only afford a Honda, and then
Yeah, right,
complaining that, hey, I can't get what I need and I'm going, you know what I
right.
mean?
My
So
jobs aren't
again,
profitable. Right, right.
right, but it's because guess where they park their their Lamborghini, in front of, they're going straight for sale, assuming everybody just wants to buy their
Right,
product, right? Like, they nobody knows who you are. You have to plant those seeds earlier on, right? If people are being educated, what's going to happen is you start to filter them down, right? If I knew that I was looking at a Lamborghini in the awareness
yeah,
stage, all right, as I come down and as I start to engage, and again, think about lead quality at this point, right? I've already nurtured someone. They know, like, and trust my brand. All right. And I know that they are of the right character and the, right financial background. All right. Getting them through the purchase stage is a cakewalk. You don't even need to sell, really. It's order taking, right?
right,
Now, if we miss those stages, now we need to sell because we look like every single other person that's
right,
coming through the gate,
right.
bidding on these jobs, right? So
Yeah,
again, the investment is worth it in being in that information part of the stage, getting a hook into them early, guiding them through the buying journey, and bringing them down to a point where they're, and a lot of times this is the biggest discovery that we've had, is that we don't get price shopped. We don't at all.
right,
they're not going with anybody else. If they got
right,
another quote, it's kind of like that whimper at the end. They're like, "Well, I got another quote." And he was half the price, but I'm going with you. I'm like, "Great. Thank you for telling me that. I appreciate that
right.
information. Do you have his quote? Could I look at it?" Like, you know what I mean? Like, it does really work that way. And it's because I understand the importance of, again, using the platforms that we have at the right time for the right advantages, right? Keep your Facebook updated, keep thinking about the story you're telling about your brand, right? Versus just posting pictures or just and expecting people to even know what it's
Yeah,
supposed to
yeah.
be.
And so, like, I think to your point, and you said something, and I'm gonna totally butcher what you said, but my interpretation is like the thing that I think we have to think about is like this puts us in thousands, tens of thousands of living rooms, right? And
Mhm.
bedrooms. I don't mean to like get weird, but like of our target customers, um, all the time, 24/7. And, you know, to your point, Jay, it's not like it's, I mean, yes, I mean, there is a, oddly satisfying thing to the before and afters and like, you know, the
Mhm.
mason restoration
And
business,
there's a
people
place for it
love
too.
the,
Yeah.
they love the pressure washing stuff. I mean, you just could
Mhm.
watch it all day. So I did a lot of that, but, um, at the same time, you know, like there's, you know, again, going back to the business I was running, you know, the thing that people like appreciated when they were making decisions was, you know, the care that we took. So they were
Mhm.
paying a premium, but they were also getting, they knew that, for example, like mortar matching, mortar color matching is a big one for masons, right?
Mhm.
And we were great at that, and there was nobody better. And so, you know, that's, you know, I mean, at when you're, and I think this is the thing that I want to, and maybe you know, you can give us some feedback on this, but I think it's, we overcomplicate it, right?
Oh yeah.
Like as a mason, as a masonry restoration outfit shop, like all we had to do was just talk about like how we match mortar, like how we get good color matches. And that alone, which is to us the most unsexiest everyday thing,
Mhm.
that could sell work, right?
Right. So let's
And so
let's
it's not this sexy, like, look at all these crazy pan drone. People don't buy that. They don't buy from that shit, right?
right, exactly. So let's move that through. So I want to actually make this practical. Okay? So
Yeah.
now imagine that you just look at any of your competitors and everything else, and you judge their marketing and where it would put in the position of the funnel. Okay, and you're going to find that you've got this massive amount of people just sitting there waiting for
Buy,
the
buy, buy,
easy,
buy,
like the
buy.
3%. Okay,
Right.
now let's take the mortar matching process,
Yeah.
and imagine that we create the awareness of the problem, because they assume your clients have no idea about that issue yet. They are only in the very early days of thinking about this job. Okay.
Right.
And you bring up that pain that they could experience.
Right.
Okay. So, how I would position that, and it's a 1-2 thing, is I'm going to state the problem, the commonly answered problem. Hey, most 93% of masonry jobs are dissatisfied because the
Right.
mortar doesn't match despite the
Yeah.
quality of the
Looks like
work.
crap.
If
Yeah.
it's not matched, boom, I'm going to state it, and then I'm going to create the awareness of the problem. Next, I'm going to get somebody else to tell my audience how I solved that problem for them. Okay,
Boom.
because
Yeah.
here I'm going to move the client to getting to becoming emotional towards it. So when somebody else, like when you say something, it has very little credibility and it can become salesy. Okay.
Right.
Although good information, that's not
Right.
what's going to move your client to the next part, which is consideration. The consideration point comes when you can prove it, right?
Right.
How did you solve that? What was the exact situation? I'm interested. So think about it like telling a story. Hey, here's the problem. Level 2 is here's somebody that we solved the problem for, right?
Yeah.
And then level 3 is going to be how did you present all of that? Like, was that like, did I get what I need? Am I walking away feeling full and satisfied from the information that was shared with me and the
Yeah.
way it was presented? So think of your brand that way. Okay. Now, the other side to it, now only then, all right. So you've created the awareness, the consideration, and think about it. I didn't know that I needed to have colored matched, you know, grout. Now I can see that's really important. And it turns
Right.
out these guys are the best at it. I
Right.
prefer having the best. I'm going to give them a call. Boom.
Right.
Right. That's how exactly how decisions get made and leads get generated. How
Right.
many guys go the opposite way around where they're showing all this great stuff, but they're not telling why that matters. What's the
Right.
point? And they're not thinking that way. They're assuming that everybody comes in knowing their own problem, knowing what
Right.
they want to buy, right? And that doesn't happen till stage 4. People don't know, right? They don't know. They're vaguely aware of even what their problem is, right?
Right.
They're shopping, they're looking at things, they're collecting information. Now, when you get to the sale, this is again, for everybody listening, I want you, and the guys that are struggling to convert sales, I'll tell you exactly why. Number one, you don't know how to market, right? You feel that marketing is
Right.
an expense versus an investment, which again, we use the terms 2 to 1. Nowadays in modern marketing, a 4 to 1 is standard. I won't
Wow.
scale a marketing campaign till I can ensure myself a three to 4 to 1. I mean, you do get two to one depending on where it is, but and that's again, we're talking about ROAS. So for every dollar you put
Yeah,
in, you get
yeah,
back
you
out.
got to say what that means, Jay,
Yeah.
just to
So
make sure everyone knows exactly what you're saying.
so when I look at marketing, I look at how much does it cost me to acquire a customer, period, right? So that way I know how much I have to invest in acquiring those customers, right? And
Right.
my goal is to get my cost per acquired customer down as low as possible, all right? And that's what we call return on your investment, all right?
Right.
So the better you do these things and understand how these things work and buy media or buy advertising or buy marketing for the right places, the lower and lower your cost per acquired customer comes. So there's a very good saying, I think I shared it last week, but the person who can afford to pay the most for a lead wins,
Wins. Yeah.
right? So
Right.
think about it that way. If my cost per acquired customer, I've gotten to such a very good conversion, and I know, again, I'm getting people converted at a low cost, right? Not just leads, because that's a misunderstanding. All right. That,
Right.
that that means nothing. It's
Right.
converting them.
Leads that buy from you, from your roofing
Bingo.
business, just to be
Bingo.
clear. Yes.
Bingo. So, but I can afford to spend $1,200 per lead and buy the best quality leads. And I can do that indefinitely because when I know that it costs me $1,200 to acquire a customer and I convert at a predictable rate. So again, pay attention here. All right. Because I could buy a cheaper lead.
Right.
I
Right.
could, I could
Go on a
not
Facebook
invest. Yeah.
marketplace or some
Right.
discount. Yep. Yep.
I can not invest in the top of the stages. All right. And I'm going
Right.
to acquire a lead down here, but I'm going to get back what I've put in. And the algorithms aren't stupid, right? You're going to get back, you're going to get a ton of running around and you're not going to convert those high ticket profitable jobs that you should. Okay. Now there's the high level view of looking at, I only like, if it cost me $1,600 to acquire one customer all in for marketing, all right, and my ticket price is 40 grand and I'm making $15,000 off that job, that's a very easy decision to make. I'm going to put in as many dollars as I can every time they're coming out. I'm putting three in my pocket, putting one in the top, putting three in my pocket, putting one in the top.
Right.
Not too hard to figure out. Now, if we're not understanding the client journey and what we sell and we don't invest in these stages, the cost down here to convert, all right, is going to be exponential because you're not going to sell as many of these jobs, these people. And if
Right.
you do, what you're going to find is they're price shopping. They're not the type of clients that you want to do business with.
Right.
And again, it's because they're actually preying on you. Not versus the other way around
Right.
where you're
Right.
building a relationship with someone. Don't get caught in these stages or not marketing at all. And you're
Right.
definitely open for this, right? So again, it's understanding those mechanisms, right? And where to invest the money. Because again, if the other side of it is if you're investing at the top of the funnel, and this is why people don't do it, because they don't see immediate results.
Right.
Putting your content into Facebook and onto these platforms, people aren't going to immediately start to engage with you and start asking for quotes. That's just not what's going to,
Right.
even now, right now, okay, we don't get a lot of quotes off our social media, but I know because I can track that people that converted from other campaigns and again, like in this stage, had already been to those places and they'd
Mm.
already absorbed that content. So that's where
Right.
people misunderstand. Like, well, I'm not going to just keep putting posts out and no one's reading them. First of all, know that for sure, right?
Right.
And understand that that's a part of the client journey that you're going to eliminate. And it's going to force it all into one place where if someone's just coming in to look for a price and is going and making that decision, it's going to be a price sensitive shopper.
Well, I think too, Jay, it's, I, I think it's easy to listen to what we're talking about and listen to what you're saying and go return on investment. Okay, so you're this great marketer. I'm just again playing the other side. You're this great marketer, and so you get a return. But that, I bought Facebook ads for 90 days or for 6 months, and I spent all this money. Da 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 da. And you know, I think I just want to drive home the point that, like for you, you spend $10,000 and you get 40 back. right?
Mhm.
You get 40 back in revenue, right? So you have $40,000 in sales off of that 10,000.
No, that's
And
profit. Profit.
okay, wow. So, so it's
Yes.
even, so from a revenue standpoint, it's
Yeah,
substantially
no, it's like
greater.
300,000 in revenue.
So,
I'm talking about profit, like
well, I'm
profit
glad I
off of
brought
the
this
spend.
up. So,
Yes.
so you spend in your marketing $10,000, you get $40,000
In
in
profit. Yes.
net, right?
Yes.
That goes into your fucking pocket, right?
Correct. Yes.
That's so if I said so if we brought any of the folks that are in this group in today and pulled them on the call and said, listen, we've got this really cool opportunity. So, it's a retirement account. You can put $100,000 into it,
Hmm.
and within 6 months, you're going to have $400,000 in net returns.
Right.
And it's literally just what you see is what you get, right? How many people, like, who would say no to that?
Well, and again, this is why it baffles me when
But
I
you need to
see it.
post on your social media accounts. You need to follow
Right.
this. Like,
Well,
so you need to do this.
if I
If
didn't
you
do
just do these
this,
things,
right.
right? Sorry. I mean, like, who would not take that? Who would not take like, who would not invest? I mean, I would do it. I'd be here. Take my money
Right.
right now.
But I think that's where the gap is, because guys don't get this part, is that if I didn't invest in these stages, which are slower returns, I
Right.
would not convert at that, 4-to-1 ratio. I would be
Right.
converting at 1-to-1, at one to
Mm,
two, like if I'm lucky.
right.
It's
Okay.
because of these other stages, which are the untold ones. So think about it again. Like, it's exactly how it sounds. Like, you are investing in the client journey and experience with your business. If you
Yeah.
look at it just from that perspective, and you'll start to understand where sales and marketing play, because a lot of times we mix those up. And a lot of guys out there right
Yeah.
now survive purely on hustle and sale.
Just hardcore sales.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's just only because of this. All right. They're looking broadly at the market. Okay. They're not actually getting, close with their client journey. They're not
Yeah.
understanding what the pain points are, and they're not charging the value it is for solving those problems.
Well, and it's probably cheaper too to
Well, that's
have a
yeah.
higher marketing budget and not have to like hire a bunch of estimators, right?
Well, it gets, and this is what I mean when I'm, I've been sharing over the last couple of weeks about the only place you'll ever generate return from your business is here. There's no other
Yeah.
place, right? There's
Right.
no other function. So my
Everything else
rec
is hard expense.
right. So this is
Right.
this is where, I'd like to, help fill a gap in the market, in that it's okay if you don't understand all this. Okay.
Right.
It's absolutely fine. What am I doing right here? What am I doing in, let's call it the funnel? Creating awareness, right? That
Right.
hurts. Ooh, that's painful. I've got a lot
Right.
of information now. Now, the next thing I'm going to want you to do, all right, in terms of taking the next action step, is become educated. Join
Right.
our free school group where I'll teach
Right.
you this stuff, so that if you're buying media, if you're buying advertising, you're buying it for the right place, in the right position in your
Right.
offer.
Not wasting
Okay.
it. Yeah. Right.
And don't try and guess, like, again, I didn't get my understanding. I'm not even a marketer. All right. So, I mean, I'm, again, I have that mindset, but I'm not a actual technical marketer. Like, I
Right.
still hire people to do my marketing, because that's not my thing. Okay. Now,
Right.
I understand it, and I'm well educated in it, because I've made many mistakes buying media or buying advertising that did nothing. And I had the same, struggle. I'm still hustling. I'm still not getting enough to survive. Like, it was only when I got fed up with that I invested in myself. Okay. And this is very important. Invested in my own education, so that I at least understood the process. So I stopped buying from people, or buying the maybe good media for the wrong place, having the wrong expectations of it. Right.
Right.
So I give you a very, very good example of this. Guys are running out and buying leads from Angie's List. Okay.
Right.
What they're
Yep.
not realizing is they're buying people down here
Right.
that literally are given permission to get 4 or 5. Like, somebody's already made them aware. So they've already come through they are at the buying stage, and they are 100% comparing just price. Those
Right.
are the
Low bid.
worst junk
Yeah.
leads you could
Yeah.
ever buy. And you've paid so that these guys can invest up here.
Right.
Because what are they doing with you? Go look at
They're
their sites.
taking, yep,
They're
that's right.
educating your client. They're bringing
That's
them through the
right.
journey. Like they're doing the things that if you don't do, and
Yeah,
you're just paying for,
you are their marketing budget.
right. You are the marketing budget. So again, good for you. Like they have an unlimited budget they're taking companies out. They're becoming a
Yeah,
contractor now because
right,
we financed all them.
right,
Don't be that guy.
right.
Don't be that person. Understand. And again, the best investment you're going to make is in yourself. Get the information. It's not like when you look at it, like don't get involved in like what kind and design and all the other stuff that comes up when we think about, generating marketing. And maybe it's just for me, but for most guys, keep it simple, right? Very, very simple. You want to stay focused on your client. The better your client and your staff experience your business, and you should always put your staff above your client, but the more you can focus on those things and hire out these kind of things, and the better educated you are to make plans on this, all right, you will find your hustle will go away. Those ups and downs in your business, the feast and famine, that's what marketing takes away. All right. That's what it's done for me. And it allows me to predictably grow. And the truth is, after $1 million, you have to become an expert at these
Yeah,
things because at that point, you're in a very dangerous position. Most guys can get to $1 million on their own without really a good understanding of
yeah,
marketing.
right.
But from 1 to 5 million and above, you have to, like, these are your biggest levers. And when you're guiding the ship, this is all offense. All right. This is
Right.
your investment. This is where your business grows exponentially. Right. So pay attention and join
So
me for school as well.
yeah, so I was gonna say final thoughts here. So I think again, having been so just again for everyone out there, I was in the spot you're in right now. I knew we should be doing something, and I was just like, God, where do I start with all this? And and so I think if you're there,
Mhm.
if for folks that are there, because again there's folks, and we were doing $4 to $5 million and still did not have anything, no any consistency in terms of our social media accounts. So for folks that are there, right, they're doing real revenue, they have a real business,
Mhm.
40, 50 plus people, and that's a lot of folks in this group. What like what's the next step, right?
Mhm.
They want to take the next couple steps here. So what's this school thing like?
Yeah. So
How
again,
can we help them?
I offer my time and my expertise, as well as we have full blown training. All right, we have modules, we have all of this, but it's get a plan. All right, the bottom line
Yeah,
here is come receive education, even if it's not with me. Get a plan and understand what you're buying. Number one, understand what kind of journey your customer is going to experience. Understand what kind of customer you sell best to. All right,
yeah,
and start reducing the noise and the confusion and the misunderstandings. The only way you're going to get there again is by taking the time to first of all plan. And I can't stress it more. If you don't invest in your understanding, again, most of you guys haven't heard of avatars or ideal clients or buyers or any of that. Cool. That might be overwhelming to you. It's okay for you not to know and to be
right,
unaware. It's
right.
not okay now that you are aware to
To
not do
not do,
anything about it.
right,
Right.
right,
So now that we do, and we all can relate to it, it's all a pain point we generally share. Okay. At one point or another in our career, we've starved. We've gone through feast or famine. We've had that
right,
fear or that gripping feeling of, oh my God, I don't have work for my guys next week. Like we've had that fear of losing guys and building a business and it could all
right,
be gone because I had a
right,
month or two of down. That's what drives us. That's
right.
the keep me up at night shit, right? So
Yeah,
again, don't do that. Educate yourself. Don't, again, before you buy anything, because this is where the horror stories start to form. Is there's lots of marketers out there that will take your money and give you zero
yeah. They'll sell
results.
you some, right,
No, absolutely, all day. Don't let that happen. Okay, make your plan, stick to it, be sure of it, and you will see dramatic changes in your life, in your freedom, in every aspect of your business. And you will realize you'll get to a certain point where you move beyond, the guy on the tools to, the business owner, to the manager, to this, again, to the top CEO. Like
right,
those are the type of decisions you make at the top, is where you know your marketing, and it's just pulling levers, right?
right.
As long as you keep the flow going, and you have people that can convert them, and you have people that can produce it. We only have to get work, do work, and keep score, right?
Right.
So, let's pay attention and go reach out to people that have done it before you, are doing what you want to do right now. Find those people. All right. If it's joining us in school, we'll give you resources and lots of stuff to work with. And then, my last word of advice is keep it simple. Okay.
Yeah.
Again, at the end of the day, I know how overwhelming it can be, and paralysis by analysis, that is the real killer of any of this stuff happening. So again, don't keep it simple, keep it to certain platforms, have a plan. All right. Be focused, and again, enjoy the journey.
Great. So again, just to put a finer point on it, um, it's okay to feel overwhelmed, right? It's
Absolutely.
okay
You're
to
going to.
be like, dude, what does TikTok and
Mhm.
Facebook and Instagram, and I heard what you said, but like what do I do next? And okay, so it's what I'm working. So it's okay to feel like that. In fact, if you're not feeling like that,
That's
that's
right.
unusual, right?
That's right.
If you're not a little overwhelmed after hearing this conversation, then you're an
E-
exception and a special case, right?
Even
Congratulations.
excitement will give you overwhelmed. Like if you're excited by what
Right.
we're talking about and really interested in it, just know
Yeah.
this: you still are being looked at by the actions you take next, right?
Right.
So you have to get through that overwhelm. And we're, as contractors, we're constantly in that state, right? We're
Yeah.
constantly in that anxiety. That's what makes us good at
Right.
what
I
we
got a lot
do,
of work now, but what's
but it keeps
next?
us
Yeah.
stuck. It doesn't let us
Right.
see the next play. Like we're constantly not taking enough action, and you need to take, like, again, if I told you this is the only place you should be investing, right? How many are you going to listen? How many are going to take
Right.
action on that? Right. So again, these are all tips that I hope is giving you some value and some direction.
Yeah. So again, if you're feeling overwhelmed, it's okay. This is while this is like the golden like gold of this is the best stuff we've got and it's works. Um, check out like comment or DM us, and you'll get an invite to the school. And Jay is there every Thursday, 3 o'clock, right, Jay?
That's right.
Going through this, and we're moving towards marketing, right? So that's
Yes,
the
we have a full.
conversation we're having, right?
Absolutely. We're going to see more and more of this because that's what you guys want. That's what you want to hear. So again, take the action. The next step is, come and check it out, and we'll work on one piece at a time and get one thing right, move on to the next.
I think that's pretty good stuff. So everybody, thank you for hanging out with us for a little bit here on a Friday afternoon. We're here every Friday, 3 o'clock Eastern, bringing the best stuff we've got, the stuff we've used in our businesses, the stuff Jay still uses in his roofing business every single day, every week. So keep coming back, keep checking us out, and check us out in school if you want to like dip your toe, get some more, get some questions answered, and we're going to help you out there. So thanks everybody, and see you next week.